Buying these houses and people were like, oh man, why you buying them little raggedy houses, man? You know, buy some houses in LA.
Look at this. Look what my guy did to Indianapolis. Look at this block.
What does revenge look like in 2025? It's not a diss track. It's not flexing on Instagram. Real revenge is rewriting the story that tried to write you out of it. That's exactly what comedian Mike Epps just did. He went back to the Indianapolis block that broke his family. The same streets where he watched his mother cry after eviction notices. The same corners where childhood bullies made him feel small. But he didn't just return for laughs or clout. He came back with a plan, 30 years in the making. His first move? Buying the house of the kid who used to torment him. Petty? Maybe. Legendary? Absolutely. But that was only the beginning. Mike made a promise as a child. One day he'd buy back every house his family was ever forced out of. And he did. He turned a block that once pushed him out into one he now owns, shaping it back into a thriving community. This isn't just about real estate. It's about reclaiming dignity, preserving history, and standing up to gentrification by outplaying it. To understand the impact, you have to understand where it all started, the Kennedy King neighborhood. This wasn't just a cluster of houses. It was a heartbeat of Black ownership, a place where churches weren't just for worship, but for banking, counseling, and organizing. The system tried to break it, but Mike Epps came back, bought it back, and built it back, stronger. Decades of redlining and neglect left Mike Epps' childhood block in crisis. Crime was rising, poverty was gripping families, and landlords circled like vultures. Mike remembers it vividly, not as a story, but as a sharp, burning memory. He was just a boy, standing in a room full of packed boxes, watching his mother's face crumble as yet another eviction notice landed. I didn't have any of the houses I grew up in, he says. His grandmother's home was the last one they kept, lost over generations. That pain, the humiliation of having your life and stability thrown into the street, is a wound that never fades. For the Epps family, it happened again and again. They were nomads in their own city. Then gentrification hit. Developers with shiny brochures started snapping up property, forcing longtime residents out. Elderly homeowners, some there for decades, were handed taxes they couldn't pay. Their history was ripped away. The community that raised Mike teetered on the brink of erasure. But that little boy who had watched his mother cry made a vow. Mama, if I ever get famous, I'm going to buy back every house we lost. This wasn't just a promise, it became a mission, a lifetime quest to reclaim his roots, restore dignity, and protect the neighborhood that tried to break him. In the middle of that childhood chaos, Mike Epps made a vow. Mama, I'm going to go back and buy every house we ever got kicked out of. At first, it was just a desperate fantasy, a way to make the pain stop. But for Mike, that promise became his North Star. Fast forward through endless nights in comedy clubs, sleeping in his car, fighting for stage time, he made it. Hollywood money in the bank. For most, the story ends there. Not for Mike. That promise was still burning inside him. About 30 years ago, he started making quiet trips back to Indianapolis. Carrollton Avenue became his mission. He bought the ghosts of his past, the raggedy houses friends laughed at. I was buying these houses and people were like, why are you buying these little raggedy houses? He recalls. Windows boarded up, roofs collapsing, some still active drug dens, some as cheap as $5 at tax auctions. Buying them was the easy part. The rebuild nearly broke him. Mike wasn't a contractor, he was a comedian. He walked into houses smelling mold, discovering cracked foundations, faulty wiring, and plumbing beyond repair. These weren't fixer-uppers, they were money pits. HGTV revealed that renovating just 2 of them would cost over $500,000. Every dollar he earned from movies and stand-up was swallowed by this high-stakes mission. This wasn't just a business challenge, it was personal. That childhood promise to his mother teetered on the edge of becoming a colossal failure. The houses sat in limbo for years, a constant, exhausting reminder of how tough this dream really was. As his wife Kira first walked through them, she couldn't hide her shock. "Oh God," she said, "you need a little help." Mike was on the verge of holding a powerful dream in his hands, but his portfolio of crumbling houses threatened to crush it Every hustler knows you can't build an empire alone. For Mike, the heart and vision were his, but the execution came from Kira. "I couldn't have done it without my beautiful wife," he says. "She was the one who turned raw passion into a plan. The designs, the layout, the finishing touches. Kira was the secret weapon, giving life to what Mike had only imagined." Mike calls himself the gambler. Kira is meticulous. Together they were unstoppable. Where he saw boarded up windows and rotting walls, she saw blank canvases ready to be transformed. She became the strategic and creative director of the whole operation, shaping each house into a high-value asset. "I'm from Indianapolis," Mike says. "I'm a little country compared to her. She put a little city on it." Their collaboration sparked a turning point. This wasn't just about homes. It was about community. It was about legacy, and for the first time, the dream that had haunted Mike since childhood started to feel real. This is about more than houses. It's about reclaiming your block, your community, your land. It's about building a legacy for your family and for the neighborhood that raised you. Their first major breakthrough? Grandma's house at 2058 Carrollton Avenue. Mike had gutted the rotting interior, and together with Kira, they made a bold choice. They painted it entirely black. A powerful, unapologetic statement, Black excellence, history reclaimed. That house wasn't just a home, it was proof that they could restore and elevate the houses of their past. Once Grandma's house was complete, the momentum exploded. They went on a renovation blitz across Carrollton Avenue, transforming historic shotgun houses and bungalows one by one. Mike secured 6 properties back-to-back, creating a literal Epps block. There was 2050 Carrollton, the Big Blue, a former firehouse turned their personal residence. 2054 Carrollton, the Army House, physically expanded to welcome a new family. And 337 Carrollton, the house where Mike grew up, preserved on the outside to honor memory, while modernized inside for comfort. With his trusted crew, builders blasting Aerosmith and cracking beers, the block transformed from forgotten homes to a vibrant construction zone. Hope returned. The neighborhood that once felt lost began to breathe again. Their story became so powerful that Hollywood couldn't ignore it. In 2023, HGTV greenlit their show, Buying Back the Block, turning a lifelong mission into a national celebration of community, legacy, and resilience. This was the moment Mike's 30-year, under-the-radar mission hit the national stage. Millions watched as he delivered a masterclass in reverse gentrification, showing that these once raggedy houses were the foundation of a bigger story, one about empowerment, pride, and reclaiming history. Sure, the $5 houses are now worth $500,000 each, but the real proof isn't on a balance sheet, it's on the streets. Mike and Kira actively protected their neighbors, stepping in as gentrification pushed property taxes sky high, creating a firewall against displacement and keeping longtime residents in their homes. Their investment sparked a genuine revival in the Kennedy King Business District, and then came the cultural coronation. Dame Dash, co-founder of Rockefeller Records, and a man whose brand is built on ownership, pulled up on Carrollton Avenue. In a raw phone video, he shakes his head in awe. This whole block? Came back and built this whole block? For Dame Dash to give that nod of respect, that cosign was monumental. But for Mike, the sweetest moment was more personal. On Jimmy Kimmel Live, he casually dropped a story of ultimate petty revenge. "It was a guy that used to bully me down the street. I bought his house. Did you get it? He's out. I got him out there." It was more than a mic drop moment. It was decades of pain, promise, and perseverance finally coming full circle. The audience erupted. The kid who once felt powerless on that block was now standing on the same ground his tormentor once ruled. It wasn't just about money or fame, it was about healing decades-old wounds, one property at a time. Mike Epps' journey isn't just a feel-good celebrity story, it's a blueprint for fighting the systemic forces that have stripped Black families of wealth for generations. It's about community, land, and building a lasting legacy for your family and neighborhood. The homeownership gap for Black Americans is a crisis rooted in redlining and disenfranchisement. Mike's story shows how to fight back, invest where you know, play the long game, build strategic partnerships, create an ecosystem, and control your own narrative. He's part of a larger movement of artists redefining success, not by fame, but by impact. Mike wasn't just buying property, he was reclaiming his memories, turning childhood pain into power. You don't need Wall Street credentials to make a difference. You need a long memory, a love for your community, and the patience to see a 30-year promise through. At the heart of it all is one image, a little boy watching his mother cry during eviction. Every movie, every paycheck, every Hollywood spotlight was just fuel for the journey back to that block. Mike Epps is a comedian, but his greatest legacy isn't on a stage or in a film. It's in the brick and mortar of Carrollton Avenue, in the families who get to stay, and in the pride of a neighborhood that refused to be erased. It's in the future he secured for his children and grandchildren, kids who can now walk the same streets their father once played on and know they truly belong. Mike kept his promise. He went back and bought every house his family was ever kicked out of. That's the kind of power a lifelong mission holds. So the next time the world tries to define a boss move, don't let it be a rented jet or a flashy chain. Show them this story. Show them that real wealth isn't what you take from a community, it's what you build inside it. The ultimate flex isn't leaving the hood behind. It's coming back, claiming it, healing it, making it stronger than you found it. That's what buying back the block really means. And that's a legacy that won't fade. A legacy written in brick and mortar, in families who can stay